Well, hello.
Um, I've been arguing with myself whether to post this video because of, I suppose, the conflict and the triggering effect that it will have.
Oh, the irony. Hello, this is Mr. Reality, and today we'll be looking at another person who thinks she needs feminism, and is also going to tell us why she needs feminism and why we need it as well. So let's get on with this.
But I thought, I've got to be true to myself, and yes, I'm going to talk about it. But in the past, I've had a lot of arguments and with friends, with people who aren't my friends, Facebook, in person, just everywhere, since I was probably the age of 16.
How old are you now? Oh, whoops, you're not supposed to ask a woman that question. Oh wait, no, that'd be sexist not to. Shoot, now I'm confused.
About, I suppose, discrimination against women in history and in modern day life.
Okay.
So, it hasn't been too, I think about the last 2 years, I really came to terms with, I suppose, the word feminism, and that I would probably identify as a feminist.
What do you mean by come to terms with it? I mean, what?
I used to feel this sense of shame, or I suppose I didn't really understand what the word meant because of the way that other people described the word feminist, with a lot of negative imagery.
Well, to be fair, feminists do give us a lot of negative imagery to associate with feminism, so...
I suppose. So basically, I'm a feminist.
Yes, I guessed that from the title of your video.
Firstly, because I believe in equality, and that is at the core of what feminism is.
Equality for whom? You didn't specify. Is it equality for men and women, or is it equality for women, which is what the definition of feminism that feminists are so proud of says?
And you may have your reason for disliking the word.
It's more the people who identify as feminists that I dislike.
Which I respect, but, no one should have to label themselves because a group of people is telling them to.
Exactly. But do you know who's going around demanding that people label themselves as feminists? I'll give you a hint. It's feminists.
Or because, an angry guy tells you, oh, you're such a feminist.
Or because an angry woman says, you're a disgusting person if you're not a feminist.
You shouldn't have to call yourself that just because you are speaking up about women's rights. But personally, feminism, the word, isn't a negative or disgusting word for me to use.
And really, it shouldn't be. But the people who have the feminist label, who take the feminist label, at least the vocal ones, tend to be disgusting people.
Even though for decades this word has been used against women to, I suppose, make their arguments invalid.
Okay, so I'm gonna guess that you probably don't do this, but a lot of feminists do exactly what you're saying, only they use MRA as a way to try to silence men for their evil opinions, or, well, their dissenting opinions.
Which is wrong.
Well, we're agreed on that.
Feminism is supposed to be a group of people who are trying to gain rights for women and opportunities.
Well, congratulations, because your movement succeeded. Women have equal rights under the law. What else do you want?
These rights and opportunities, when they are gained, aren't used to overthrow men and to take away their opportunities, but it's basically just to give women a chance to show what they're made of.
Yes, and I think we've seen exactly what they're made of. Some of them, at least.
Secondly, I'm a feminist because of the discrimination of women.
What? The way you worded that sounds like you're a feminist because women discriminate. But that's probably not what you meant, is it?
All throughout the world and throughout history.
Wait a minute. You're a feminist because women were discriminated through in history. Wait, what's feminism going to do about this? Is feminism going to fix history? What, do you have a TARDIS that you're going to take back in time and you're going to change history?
No one should be treated secondary. No one.
Based only on their gender, I agree.
Based on class, based on gender, based on race, based on disability.
Yes, based on those things, but based on a criminal past, I wouldn't agree with that. So, yeah, I just wanted to make that distinction.
People shouldn't be discriminated against.
Well, based off of things that they can't help, like their ethnicity or their gender.
And,
I'm sorry, could you not say so much? It's very distracting.
I suppose I've seen people discriminated against for being a woman.
You suppose you've seen them? So you're not even sure that you have seen people discriminated against for being a woman? Well, I'm convinced.
Merely for that fact. So I've explained a couple of reasons why I'm a feminist, but
you've yet to give us a good one.
I also want to address a couple of things while I'm here. Basically, I find it really unfortunate that there are still guys out there who really feel strongly against feminism.
Well, get your fellow feminists to stop fighting against men's rights, and maybe we won't have a horrible feeling against feminism.
And they actually make it their hobby and part-time job to permeate this hate and, discriminatory behaviour.
Well, now you're just throwing around buzzwords.
Basically, they're spreading this toxic opinion that all feminists are raging, angry lesbians that have a vendetta and hate towards men.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you over the sound of this angry, raging feminist lesbian who has an anger and hate towards men.
And they want to eradicate men off the face of the earth and take their jobs.
Well, there are some who want to do that. Here, have you ever heard of #KillAllMen? Now, they've said this was a joke, but what if there was a #KillAllWomen? Would that really be considered a joke? No.
Which isn't true.
Well, it may not be true for all feminists, but it's definitely true for some.
That is not what feminism is. And I'm sorry if that's what you believe it is, and I'm sorry that there was like a crazy radical feminist out there that probably did give you that opinion.
Try almost every single feminist of the modern day. I mean, are they all crazy radicals?
There are always going to be crazy radical people within any group of people. If there's a group of Christian people at a church, there'll be one that's crazy.
Like the Westboro Baptist Church, yes.
Or if there's a group of Muslim people, there'll be a crazy extremist.
The Muslims who follow the Quran, yes.
If there's a group of, I don't know, men hating women, I don't even know what I'm saying.
Yes, you've made that perfectly clear.
But there's always going to be an extremist in any group.
Yeah, but the problem with feminism is that almost all of the vocal ones are extremists, quote unquote.
That will ruin a name for something. Even vegetarianism, like there'll always be one vegetarian person that kind of annoyed you and
I think you mean vegan, not vegetarian. There's an important distinction.
Made you think that all vegetarians are these really fussy people who try and make the world difficult.
Wow. That was a great description of modern feminism.
There's always going to be a crazy person. Anyway, what was I talking about?
I honestly cannot tell at this point.
Basically, without feminism, women wouldn't have the vote.
Hang on, I'm going to stop you right there, because that's actually not true. The rule was that you had to own land to vote, and so most women did not own land, so they couldn't vote. But there were also men who couldn't vote because they did not own land. What the feminists did was make it where it didn't matter if you owned land or not, to where you could vote. So women could vote, they just had to own land.
Women wouldn't be able to be politicians.
Well, most women didn't want to be politicians because back in the day, it was not considered a glamorous job.
Women wouldn't be able to be taken seriously in the workplace.
Hashtag air conditioners are sexist.
The CEOs of companies, they wouldn't be able to play sport on the weekends. Without feminism, I wouldn't even be able to make this video.
Well, there's not really any way to know that because this kind of technology did not exist before feminism. And no, I'm not saying that feminists invented it, because clearly they did not. But in the time that feminism was started, the internet did not exist. Cheap cameras didn't exist, So there's really no way to know that.
It's that simple. Because back in the past, in, the 1800s, women were not even allowed to voice their opinions.
Ever heard of Harriet Beecher Stowe? Thought not. You might want to look her up sometime.
So feminism is a very important thing, and I feel very strongly about it. And I know that women in the Western world have so many opportunities. They have so many opportunities that women don't get in third world countries, and I am so grateful.
But you're gonna complain anyway.
And so lucky to be here. But in saying that, there are still things that we need to be doing to I suppose, give women rights and give them opportunities.
What? I played that clip like 5 times and I can't understand what you're saying.
There's still women dying in domestic violence situations in Australia. I think it was 1 in 3.
Well, since you have been so kind as to not provide us with a link to any sort of source for that, I'm going to do that. Okay, so these statistics are from the Australian Bureau of Statistics. Okay, the population of Australia is estimated to be 23,940,000 people. And now, here's the data for family and domestic violence related sexual assaults against females. As you can see, it's 7,464 in 2014 and 2015. Now, I'm no mathematician, but I don't think that 7,464 is 1 in 3 of 23,900,000 people. So, you're wrong about that. You probably should have looked it up before saying it. And again, these are official statistics, and I will link to the sites in the description of the video.
Don't take my word for it, but it was something like that.
Well, I didn't take your word for it, and it was nothing like that.
1 in 3 women will experience domestic violence. What else?
Don't forget the wage gap that's been debunked thousands of times.
Rape culture on campuses, on college campuses in America, in Australia,
has also been proved to not exist.
The results are shocking of just how often these cases have been reported and
turn out to be false?
The colleges don't take it seriously.
Because they turned out to be false? By the way, give me an example of a college that hasn't taken one seriously. I would like to see it.
It's just, I suppose, just the culture as well. Women just being sexually assaulted in public.
Yeah, because men are never assaulted in public.
Or sexually harassed in the workplace. This is stuff that we live with here in the Western world, like in Australia, in America, in England.
But you don't have any proof.
But obviously, there are women that are in much more trouble than we are in. Genital mutilation is still a thing.
For women in Eastern parts of the world, in the Western world, it's not legal, but male genital mutilation is. That doesn't sound like equality.
Child brides still exist, sex trafficking.
But not in the Western world. You've still to show us how feminism is needed in the Western world.
It's unbelievable.
I know.
So, I suppose I feel very strongly about this because I am a woman, but I also feel like men should take this just as seriously as we do.
Oh, trust me, I am taking this seriously.
And, when I meet a guy that's really open to talking about these things and encourages this line of thought, it's so attractive because so many men just don't want to bar of it and don't want to talk about it. Let's take the negative connotation away from feminism and let's all believe in equality. And, yeah.
Well, really it's up to feminists to take away the negative connotation of feminism. And you keep acting like feminism has a monopoly on the word equality. You weren't the first ones to be for equality, and you won't be the last. You don't own the word. Stop pretending like you do.